Today, we talk about the power of honesty. This should be a really simple conversation. Wait, who the hell am I kidding? It is 2025 and we are still situated on Earth. That is not quite the case. Honesty is a beautiful quality in a person. Integrity, truth, beautiful things. But in life, there are higher influences of deception, self-deception, lies, a lack of integrity, a lack of morals, negating blame, blaming others, a lack of consciousness that all impacts whether or not someone is honest or not. So we're going to dive into that today. But not only that, we're going to dive into lies of all kinds, inner self-perception, inner self-deception, consciousness, retention in the body because of lies. We're going to talk about the physiological impacts of lies on the nervous system, on brain chemistry, on our DNA. Moreover, that hereditary factors that influence our DNA and that could make us more prone to lying. We're going to talk about that from a psychological perspective. And not only that, the health and well-being, the sicknesses that rise up from being a liar. You could have a lot of health issues because you lie all the time. And because lying is a social thing, you wouldn't situate that with or connect the dots and go, oh my God, all those lies I've been telling, all that lying I do, it's making me sick. Now I'm having serious health problems. That's retention. That's your body working through the molecular structures of physiology and that natural, somewhat ethereal, definitely social, obviously emotional and mental. The cognition of self is tethered to the nervous system, and the nervous system is running around the whole body, impacting our bone and our all-round mechanics. We are one, yeah? All components of the self are working together. So when you choose to be a liar or deceptive to others or self, it does have an impact. And that is influencing your societal norms, standards within the community group that you're a part of. And that influences family and friends. Some of your family and friends are liars. Some people in the crew, the clique, the squad are all liars anyway. So it's a natural way of existing and a natural way of being. But we want to break through this terrain of sticky, stuck, awkward, weird, don't want to say too much about it, and come out and go, yeah, we're free of the lies, we're free of the bullshit, and we know where we stand. So that's what we're doing today. We're self-actualizing in motion, and we're going to dive into honesty and be honest with ourselves about things that we lie to ourselves about and things that we lie to others about, and why it's so important to break that ancestral curse, if that is an ancestral curse. So where do we start? Let's start with that ancestry. You are more likely to be a liar if you are born into a lying family. If your family lie, your mother lies, your father lies, your sibling lies, your extended family members lie, and it's a natural thing, don't tell that person this, don't tell that person this, lie about that, don't own that. The likelihood is you're more likely to build up customs towards lying. It's customary to lie, right? But on the other hand, if you've been ingrained with such different ideologies that lying is wrong, for example, I went to a church school, right? Jesus was the focus of all we did. We went to the church frequently, which was across the road from the school, and we really got taught a lot about morals. Everyone's different, because I'm not going to say everyone that went to my school did not grow up to be a massive liar, right? But personally, the way I perceived my relationship with Jesus and God and the way I was taught about God, I knew lying was wrong. But I saw a lot of lying around me, right? Lying in the community, lying in the hood, lying where I came from, we're lying all the time, right? To get by, to survive. Police, crime, drama, we lie, right? Do not tell the truth about that. So firstly, the first obstacle you face, and we know that the first 7 years of life are the most impactful on determining your adulthood, your long-term output. The trajectory of your sense of self is rooted in the first 7 of existence, okay? So with that being known, it's a really, really interesting kaleidoscope, monotropic view now that we take on to go, okay, left is a lie, right is the truth. How much are we teetering and tottering between that? Because we are wavering frequently or towards, or for or against the lie or the truth. Do you love me? Yeah. Yeah, of course I love you. You know I love you, but you never say it. But I do. You've never told me before. I tell you I love you all the time. You only tell me you love me during sex at climax. So I don't, yeah, but I mean it. Yeah, in the moment when you're busting, you do, yeah. Beyond that, is there more, right? I've lost £20. I can't find it. You're the only one that lives here with me. Have you seen it? It was right here on the desk. No, haven't got a clue. Haven't seen that £20. So sorry. And this is where we open up the first can of worms of the situation, is what it does to receive a lie. This is where the gaslighting and the spectrum of narcissism comes into play, and so many other conversations and abusers and manipulation and victims and survivors all fly out of the gate here. Because in the example I've just given you, there was £20 on the desk and it's gone. No one else could have taken it but you, but you're telling me you never took that. Well, we've got a problem now, because now I'm going to retrace my steps and I'm going to internalize and overanalyze whether or not I've done something with it. Have we got a cat, or maybe the dog ate it? Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe it blew away when the window was open. You start having the dumbest, stupidest, most irrealistic ideologies in your mind to account for that missing money, when the only truthful explanation of the conversation is, that cunt's lying. Oh, awkward. And things like that happen all the time. And a real life example, when I first moved out and lived on my own in my early 20s, and I had a roommate, and we had people at the house all the time. It was a turn up, it was a party, we were living our best lives, right? I was in a relationship, and in that relationship that person stayed with me, but during that window of time, I would go to work and they would have the whole house to themselves and free reign, and obviously I was paying for everything. But I would come home and there was one incident where things were missing. Some of my really important jewelry had been stolen. I didn't even address it. I didn't know how to address a lie. So this is the main thing we're going to pin today. I say this all the time throughout. This is the first pin of the day. It's, how do you address a lie? One of the most important pieces of jewelry I had in childhood was stolen from me, and I say young adulthood stolen from me, but I had it from childhood that was stolen. And my roommate's jewelry was also stolen, and she came to me incredibly pissed off, saying that her personal stuff had been gone through, and I didn't know how to perceive that. I didn't know how to process that. I didn't know how to manage that. I asked, he denied it, and we moved on. And me and my roommate fell out because of that. We then moved out after that, because the relationship was now breaking down because of the lie and because of the theft. But I was too weak and vulnerable and insecure and empathically stupid to not act and be more, what the fuck is going on in this house? What the fuck have you been doing? It has to be you. I'm pretty sure he took it to the pawn shop and sold it, you know? And that's devastating. And my roommate also lost jewelry too. That's an example. Can you pin here for a moment and pause and think of an example where you've been lied to and you've let it go and it's affected you and someone else, or you've lied and it's really created a ricochet of events that's really ruined somebody else's reality or impeded on someone else's mental health and well-being? Take a minute to pause and think about that today. How did it feel? How does it feel? Does that make you more consciously aware of your role to be integritous and to be honest and to be truthful? Or are you one of those fuckers that just doesn't give a fuck or any fucks about who you hurt and who you lie to? Because what I'm awakening to, and I'm 36 and it's taken me a fucking long time to get here, is it is so debilitating to be around people that chat shit and lie. It's so, you hear the breathing I'm doing, right? We are on prana day 18 over here, right? We're working on the self and we're embracing breath, and it's needed because there's so much annoyances that come from people that chat shit and lie. Stop lying. Why are you lying? Why are you choosing lies? Oh, you grew up lying. Lying's natural to you. It's two sides of the coin. Can we say that? On one side, let's head over to the left. You know, we love a spectrum over here. On the left, we've got a liar. On the right, we've got a truth teller. Always tells the truth, always tells the truth. Left, all they do is lie through their teeth. Do you know what's interesting about this? This is the first time we're coming over here with her teachings and going, we've got other layers to this spectrum. Because the left and the right at a layer one is very simply liar, truth teller. Underneath that, we've got an underbelly of consciousness. Because what's running concurrently along this liar and this truth teller is the cognition and consciousness that they do or don't have to make them consciously aware that they are or are not full of shit. How about that? How about that? That's the most difficult thing. And I guess as a highly sensitive person, and the hermatologist who analyzes the fuck out of everything, and being on a conscious journey, right? There's always this phase that we get to in spiritual awakening, hopefully before you reach year 7 or year 10. I would like to think in the earlier phases of year 2 and year 3, you start awakening to the consciousness you have about the things that you naturally lie about. Like, for example, how are you doing today? You all right? Yeah, I'm great. I'm good. You've just been crying for the last 4 hours. You are in a right state. You are deeply depressed. You're borderline suicidal. You're going through hell. You're fucking livid. But I'm great. Thank you. Really? Really? The issue with that, and we're going to pin that as a beautiful example of the the nervous system acting and brain chemistry, because your body's now in dissonance with your vocal cords for a start, and the projection of your sermon, your word, your speech, testifying out loud publicly that all is well in my reality, thank you for asking, isn't quite the truth. And I bet there's something inside your nervous system and your chakras and your physiology, there we go, that is in dissonance with that sermon and speech you just made. Do you think that that is having a neurological, molecular impact on your cells? Of course it is. Of course it is. Yeah? Because we are all part and parcel and piece of a whole, and the little things we do every day influence our development and growth. And we're talking quantum psychology, so we're diving deep today. Everyone go and watch Ant-Man, why not? Go and watch, is it Quantum Mania? Is that the second one? I'm not sure, but I'm in the mood to watch Ant-Man. I'm also in the mood to watch Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Let's talk about what it means to break down and become a smaller piece of the self. Yeah? And that comes from being honest about the layers of honesty or a lack thereof. Health and well-being is incredibly important and really affected by our consciousness. We cannot self-actualize, we cannot ascend, we cannot transcend, evolve, align, become who we are truly destined to be when we are riddled with a lack of truth. when we are less than integritous and we are not honest. If we are not honest with ourselves, we cannot be honest with others. And if we are not honest with others, it will create and manifest inside the self as something other, right? A heavy contextualization of burden or unconscious dissonance, this unknowingness, this forbidden vibration of I can't speak about that, I can't go there, I won't show up to that. There's certain things in life that you won't be able to do when you are a liar. Certain things you won't be able to say. Certain things you won't be comfortable with because you're a liar, right? So how do we cure the liar? How do we heal the lie? Consciousness. Is that a truthful statement? And this is where it starts, and this is where the evolution really begins. And I think this was year 4 for me on the journey, which was that. So we'll call this the 4D vibration. Year 2 for me was the acceptance that I'm chatting a lot of shit that's not genuine. I've been programmed to say, "Hi, yeah, I'm fine." Keep it really surface level. Keep it really blasé. Keep it really. Yeah, the weather's great, isn't it? Did you watch that show last night? Beautiful. All of that. Surface level muggle shit was the awakening of year 2 of why I wasn't really fitting in or why it was awkward. Year 2 of self-discovery, that's the sacral chakra, right? Of that spiritual awakening, of that ascension journey. Year 3 was solidifying that change. So looking at my reality and going, right, I need to reach, I'm going to ground myself in a new version of self and I'm going to stabilize that and I'm going to work towards that. And then year 4 was that real awareness of, whoa, I'm seeing all the little pieces that need to be changed that are really ingrained patterns of behavior that make me behave in a very specific way or accept less. Like that person always lies to me and I know it, so I just let them do it. But then that person keeps boomerang back to my vibration and they keep getting away with stuff and they keep manipulating and taking advantage of me because they are, because I'm accustomed to their lies and they know it. Yeah? There's been incidents that have occurred for me in adulthood, which have been incredibly embarrassing for me over the last few years specifically, where people from my past that have been really, really close to me, that I've grown up with, that have been so accustomed to lying to me and me believing it and me being so empathic and soft and loving and kind and just giving to them all the time and listening to them and being the pussy, the puppet, the empathic imbecile who just caters and gets on her knees and serves the others, the Cinderella of it all, right? In that ideology, and that old self, I have been that vibration. Yeah? And the embarrassing thing about that in adulthood, I'm now 36 and you're getting tested at 33, at 34, at 35, at 36, by that same vibration that branded you and made you who you are in their eyes when you were 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And thank God for awakening and thank God for self-actualization, because guys, the day's going to have to come where you fucking break that. Yeah? And they're going to look at you like you're crazy. They're going to look at you like you're insane. They're going to gaslight the fuck out of you and tell you your reality ain't real and you're overreacting and you're being over the top. And that's not true. But you know them and you know that they've been lying for a lengthy window of time, and you know they're full of shit and they're trying to manipulate you, and they're shocked that you're not playing ball. They're shocked that they can't get one over of you anymore. They're like, what's happened? I used to have power and control over this person. I used to lie to this person all the time. Yeah? Other situations I can give you an example of in 1 week. You've opened up to someone and told them something and shared a secret with them. The next day they've told your secret to someone else. They've been exposed for it, apologised, said they won't do it again. The next day, you keep sharing, they do it again. You keep sharing, you do it again. Sometimes to break the curse, guys, you have to give people enough rope for them to hang themselves. The only way I've been able to set myself free here and come into this paradigm where I can only surround myself with the most integritous and continue to be honest and lie about nothing, blunt as fuck, I'll tell you the truth, like it or lump it, right? is the situation of give everyone enough rope, because all these people are really, 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 really dangerous right now. And actually all they keep begging for is rope. So fucking hell, give them enough rope, because the truth of the matter is they'll hang themselves. We are against suicide here, so that's an awful pun. But metaphorically speaking, let's look at that, right? And the only exception I give to lies, and it's a really, really important exception I give to lies, and you can clearly see if that is or isn't true, is it's the that underbelly again, that unconscious lie. Yeah, people chat shit all the time. They need to be written off. They can go and take a jump. But there are people that are wrapped up in a lack of consciousness that are working through that journey. And depending on trauma and abuse and layers of healing, some people lie without intent to deceive you, but they're securing themselves. They're protecting their trauma. They're sitting on abuse. They're sitting on real stuff that they've had to lie on for years. In my head, I'm getting visions of like firearms and guns. So, for example, like baby mums and people that date men with firearms, and we're not allowed to talk about the gun that's there. You know what I mean? Like, just keep your mouth quiet. Like, it's quite a hood thing, but I'm just getting the vision in my head of I've been watching Snowfall over the last few days, so I've seen a lot of gun butts over the last couple hours. So bear with me, right? When we're watching Snowfall, we're trying to get back to the show, right? But in that, there's lies about the drugs and where the drugs are hidden and the guns, and the women can't speak on it, and baby mums in reality as well. You may have saw something happen in the community. You may have saw someone get punched in the face, someone got stabbed, but we're not snitches. We're not speaking about it. Keep your mouth shut. Do you see what I mean? And internally, that's an issue. You have to find a way internally to heal that side of self where you were married to a criminal, you lived with a criminal, you lived with a drug dealer, you lived with a gang member, you lived with a gun runner, whatever you want to call it, and you have been accustomed to lie, right? Is that the right word? It isn't. Tell me what the right phrase is. You are accustomed to lying. Yeah? Lying is natural for you because you're used to police coming and going, where is he? We're looking for this person. We're looking for this suspect. To what? I don't know. He's actually hiding in the bedroom, but I don't know. I've never seen him before. Who are you referring to? Right? No, I've never seen a gun in my life. No, drugs. No, I don't take drugs. That's not a real life example, believe me, or I wouldn't be saying it. That's for sure. But that's just an example. Like, there's so many layers. Take that to where it fits in your reality. Yeah? Your mum tells you to lie to your auntie about this, to your uncle about this, to your dad about this, to your brother and sister about this, and you're just naturally a liar now. It's ingrained in you. Your social community, all your friends lie to one of your other friends. The friendship groups where there's always one person in the friendship group and everyone talks about that one person, but to their face they act like they love them and they like them and they like their outfits and they like the way they're dressed and they like what they're doing, and we're all best friends and we're all part of the crew. We're not mean girls, we love each other. But once that person's not there, they're bitching them off, they're slagging them down, they're lying on them, they're talking all their business, and you're like, seriously, you've got to break that curse. And if you're in that friendship group where everyone's chatting shit about that person, then you've also got to look at yourself and go, why am I in this group? Right? And that's part of ascension. What's really, really hard in ascension and with consciousness, with spiritual awakening, is the social circles that you're in that force you to change. And you have to leave so much behind to become who you are. And it means shedding so much of who you've been. So there's a window of time where you're lonely and you're empty and you're conflicted and you're confused because you're leaving everything behind that isn't for you. But you knew that when you started. When I started the spiritual journey, I wasn't happy with my reality in my life, which included everybody that was in it, obviously. Right? I wanted more for myself than what I was living in, which then meant the family and friends and everyone around me that I was around and with weren't at the vibration that I desired to be to one day in my life. So I would have to ascend, right? You start doing that and you start setting healthier boundaries, and then you get people kind of stepping all over your boundaries, right? I believe in this now. I'm studying spirituality. I'm doing yoga every day. I believe in auras. I'm studying clear senses. I'm working on my mediumship. I have a real rule about distance, and I'm working on my aura. Please move back 2 more spaces from me. You're too close to my proximity. That I went for a phase where I had my own auric bubble and my own auric field, and when living at home with family, I was very much like, this is my auric bubble, please move back, you're too close to my auric field, you keep touching me in a way I'm uncomfortable with, can you move back a little bit please? And that's when you start getting challenged. Like, this is a silly example, but it's an incredible one to show you boundaries and what family do and why we break away. Because when I went through the phase that I learned through someone online, potentially James von Prague or ecology, right? But it was like, this is my aura, this is my space, I'm being incredibly mindful of that, please don't touch me. And then in that moment, right, your family are silly and they were going to annoy you, but like, don't touch me, please, I need space, and I'm really OTT like that as well. They will deliberately come over and start rubbing me, shaking me, poking me, doing really annoying stuff just to irritate me. But the truth of the matter is, that's just a little example of being annoyed and irritated, but I'm working on self. I genuinely meant that. And they genuinely, deliberately defied that and decided to poke me and rub all over me like a dog, or like, do you know what I mean? And it was funny and it was goofy and it was silly and it was a reoccurring thing, but it was also a limiting construct standing in my way because I was genuinely serious about the space that my aura needed at that time, and the way I was trying to cleanse and use sage and increase my vibration. And to have someone else all over you accept it because it's family and you're introducing something new, but once again, we're breaking the status quo. You're challenging the norms of your community and your society and your friendship groups. I don't want to hang around with all of you guys if you're just bitching and talking about other people all the time. Yeah? We're all meant to be friends, but every time we're together, you bitch about this person when they're not here. And then they come and they hang out with us the next weekend, and we're not going to address the fact that you slagged them off all last week. I don't like it. And that makes me insecure and intimidated and overwhelmed about what you're saying about me when I'm not in the room. Because if you're bitching about someone else to me, but smiling in their face, why would I ever be silly enough to believe that you're not doing the same to me, right, when I'm not in the room? And that's how I look at it. Integrity follows. And I like integrity. And standards are high. And when you do have high standards, expect to walk alone for a really lengthy window of time, period. But it is what it is, and it's worth it. It's worth it to keep going, okay? And once again, the main thing I want to hone in on is the only person we give grace to in these situations are those that are still working on ridding themselves of that lying program that they've been programmed to keep them alive. Some people have lied to survive. Some people have been programmed with the deception chip from birth, and as a result they've made it this far. So removing the lie from their consciousness isn't an easy thing to do, but if that person is consciously aware of that program and is working to remove it. So when you start to see, the first step of really moving that program and that programming is when you rebuttal in motion. Yeah, nice. Rebuttal in motion. What that means is, I'm doing absolutely fine. I'm great. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. In your mind, you just went, no, I'm not. Actually, do you know what? I'm chatting shit. No, I'm not. I'm okay. We're working through it. But no, I'm having a really tough time, actually. And I'm trying to be honest about it. It's so easy to say you're okay. I'm not. But we're working on it. Thank you for acknowledging, though. Like, tone it down. Bring it back. Because it's that muggle vibration of, life is fantastic. Isn't it amazing? And that comes from social media as well, social media influencers. That comes from being a higher level professional in your job, a leader, a manager, a CEO, and you're in a higher position. You have to act fantastic for everyone else. And you can't be that, no, life's shit. No, I'm having a bad fucking day. No, I'm not okay. You can't go there because you have to keep a level head. And there's got to be a really healthy balance in the working environment. But you don't have to fake it. That's the main point. You don't have to lie, and you can rebuttal in motion when you realise that you've overgiven. Doja, beautiful example. Do you see Doja going viral over that clip where she was blatantly being violated by the fan. He's over the top, all in her personal space. You see how he was all up on her? That was my example of the aura. When I said, please give me space, this is my aura. I really want to work on having healthier boundaries between us touching each other. And then the family just rush in and just deliberately do that on cue just to take the piss. That is kind of what Doja went through. This fan took advantage of the fact that she was just nice in the moment. And the reason I feel like Doja backtracked on that and then decided to go, no, fuck it, throw his t-shirt in the bin, fuck all that energy, is because she's watched herself back. That's a rebuttal of self. She's evolving spiritually and she's gone, I don't like that. I'm disappointed in myself that I let that happen. I don't know him for him to kiss me. I don't know him for him to be all over me like that. But I'm so accustomed to being a celebrity, to being famous, to being in the public eye and showing up with that smile. And being that lovely, bubbly star. And being accepted and being positive. Really, I should have said, motherfucker, move back. Come off me. Pause, motherfucker. What the fuck are you doing? Stop. But that's going to get caught on camera. That's going to be seen. That's going to make you look like a demon. How my demons look. Ow. How my demons look. Ow. But the truth of the matter is, she has every right to set a new standard. Let's throw in some, Justin Bieber, come on up. Do you understand? I'm just standing on business. Why don't you understand that? And everyone will say he's not standing on business. He needs to get into the vehicle and move along. We know what paparazzi are like. He does not need to be engaged. Do not engage. Do not engage. But he's had enough. And if that brings him some solace, if that brings him some healing, he's in his mind, he's standing on business. Because he's saying, I want to put my foot down here. Because if I want to go to Air One with my wife and my kid in the future, without this bullshit, that's what I want. I want to go out and I want to walk the streets and I don't want to deal with this shit. So I'm going to stand on business today. Because this is setting the precedence for the business I'm going to stand on tomorrow. And the day after that, and the week after that, and the year after that. Because the dynamics of that is really interesting as well. We'll dive here really briefly. But let's dive into the ideology of celebrityism, let's call it, and dive into the likes of Kai, streaming legend, and YouTubers and influencers that can go out on the street and be around their fans and it not be a problem. The old school celebrities, the Justin Biebers, the Doja Cats, the celebrities that come up through that pathway and angle, they can't really just pull up to anywhere and walk along the streets freely. There is a new era coming out, right? A new vibration, like the Kais probably still get swarmed, but the ideology of streams and being on the street, I show speed. Certain people can pull up and go out on the street. Not all of them. We see people getting mobbed, but some people can. The era and the future, a lot of things are shifting where what we call celebrities in the future is beyond me, but there is this evolution of that celebrity ideology where they will be able to walk freely and have a normal life. Yeah? They will be able to go to the supermarket and just be normal. So Justin Bieber's doing the right thing. He's setting precedents for the life he wants. I've seen him in the supermarket having a little shop with his wife. That's what he wants. He will be able to have that in the future. So a lot of people will look at that and go, you're not standing on business, son. That's embarrassing. What are you doing? Come on. You know you just need to get in the van and move along because that's the status quo. That's the standard paparazzi win. And he's going, no, fuck this. Fuck this, I'm not an NPC in this bitch. I'm standing on business today and I'm letting you know I'm going to keep standing on business. And whether you like it or not, and whether the rest of the world think this is awkward, we're having a paradigm shift here because I'm going to be coming out in the future. He's been to the beach a couple of times, supermarket a couple of times, different places you see these viral clips popping up and he's talking to paparazzi like, fuck you. Because he's trying to ground this new reality where that element of his life is not a negative factor. And he's going to make it, in my opinion. And I think there's a lot of more grace and consideration that someone like him should have because of the Diddy situation. Whatever the context of him and Diddy is, truthfully, we don't know. But either way, the speculation and the truth of even knowing somebody like P. Diddy at his age and what he's kind of been through in his whole career, to then have that magnified legally, but him still be able to remove from it, that trickles down the honesty lane for us today, doesn't it? That brings up self-deception, truth, lies, what really happened. The media would want to know, but only he will ever know. And I pray that bad things didn't happen to him. But with the press and the media, then the things the way they are, it's so sad. Either way, it's sad to even speculate. So he's trying to change his life, and I'm happy for him to do that. And that's a beautiful example to use. And Doja's also a bad bitch who deleted the tweets. She should have fucking left them there, to be honest. But she's just making it clear, I fucked up because I let that fan ravish me and be all up on me, and I gave them too much of my light, and I need to change. I need to clamp down. I need to be stronger. I need to be more honest with myself. And that's the rebuttal example we wanted to give as well, wasn't it? It's in motion. Doja realized that was not me. I was lying to myself in that moment. I wasn't being honest with myself in that moment. And now I've seen that clip back, I need to rebuttal. And that I wasn't honest. Because if I was being honest, boss bitch, I would have told that fan to fuck off and move back from me. Do you know me, motherfucker? No. Fall back. Period. Okay? So we've gone here, there and everywhere. And family and friends is looking at me on the list. So family and friends are beautiful, amazing, and they set a standard for you in your life. So does your community, your ecosystem, your social groups, your colleagues, the life that you choose to live. Your network is your network. Yeah, your network is your net worth. Whatever the case may be, your network, your net worth, your social standards, your integrity, your moral responsibility, your health and wholeness, your well-being, it's all tethered to your whole community and everyone that surrounds you and what you perceive to be healthy societal norms versus not. So you need to make wise decisions and choices about who you do and don't let in your network, and what kind of layers of truth and a lie you are willing to accept into your reality. Because little white lies, even if they're there for 20 years, whether they come from your mother, sister, uncle, brother, at the end of the day, it's going to limit your ability to be totally true. Do not bring lies into your proximity and expect to remain 100% honest, because then you've got to accommodate somebody else's lies. Yeah, and I went for a really difficult phase where I was screaming about sin all the time. And I use the term sin widely and loosely, but in the context I used it when I was doing my Matrix series, Radical Self-Love, back in 22, I started going, why are we accommodating for other people's sin? Why? Somebody else's sin is not your sin. Somebody else's sin is not your sin. And every time you accept somebody else's sin, thinking you're a good, empathic, morally just person because you're just being considerate of them, that sin becomes your sin. Last week we spoke about the Visca Piscis and what it means to connect to another entity, and how a percentile of you becomes a percentile of them, and you share that vibration and unity. So why would you ever choose to share a lack of integrity and dishonesty? Why would you choose to share that? Especially if that person isn't working unconsciously to rid themselves of those self-deceptions. Yeah? Because they've been programmed for a long time to smile when they see the camera and act nice to the fans, but they don't really want to do that. They've been programmed for a long time to walk past the paparazzi and show a little attention and act like it's not a real thing affecting their lives. But why would I want to do that now? I've got a kid and a wife to think about, and finances are getting tighter and tighter, and I'm going to be more than likely living down here at more of a surface level. I need to consider these things. That's why I'm standing on business. Okay? So who knew that viral clip was really going to get us? And that was going to be the moral of today's conversation. Are you standing on business? Because whether or not you have been programmed, it's hereditary. Whether it's your mother, brother, sister, uncle, auntie, colleague, manager, boss, you don't need lies in your proximity. You need honesty and you need integrity. And people win in this lifetime from honesty and integrity. I'm telling you now, you can fake it as long as you want, but eventually you're going to fall. You're going to fall and you're going to crash, just like the P. Diddy's, just like the R. Kellys, just like the Epsteins. Every single person who is doing something unjust, eventually time will catch up with you. Yeah? Karma is real. So you must force yourself. Seriously, Force yourself to do the right thing by your standards. And that's it, because your standards could be low and shitty. But they're your standards. So let's just set your standards today. Because I'm not going to judge anyone. People lie and they love to lie. If that's their standards, woo! Do you know what I love about you? The fact that you're full of shit and you own it. That's a beautiful quality to have. Because I like truth in all its glory. So if you are truthfully full of shit and you are proud of it, I lied to him yesterday. I lied to my manager about this. I lied to my boss about this. I stole all this money last week. Do you know what I done? I robbed this person of millions. It was amazing. Good for you, because you are overjoyed to be the version of you that is a dickhead. Well done. The judgment can be left to the side. Stay in your proximity zone and own who you are. I don't need you in mine. I'm not going to disrespect you for choosing you, but I'd rather you be consciously aware of all the variables that equate for your vibration and who you are today and how you present on the surface than deny you of the possibility to be you. Like Andrew Tate, for example, he's a wanker, but he chooses to be a wanker. And he glorifies his wankhoodness. Good for him. Good for him. Gel's round the corner for him too in the UK. Excellente. Keep being a wanker. That's your vibration. Yeah? Period. Haven't got time to be diving into other people's lives and saying, do you know what? You need to do this, Andrew. This is the way you should be living. No. Who am I to tell anyone else how to live? But I can tell someone else how to be honest with themselves about how they are living. Different. Yeah? Remove the judgment from the table. Stop blaming the liars and the lack of integrity around the room. And hone in on who you are. Focus on your vibration, your oneness, what keeps you clean, what keeps you pure, and what you feel is or isn't comfortable when it comes into your proximity zone. Namaste.